Just ahead of the weekend, obviously COVID and dealing with all of those things that come with it, how is the camp looking?
Yeah, everybody's excited. As we're building up, we've had a few false starts recently, so you just got to adapt, like everybody else, really, under the current sort of situation. So, no, everybody's excited. I'm really looking forward to getting out, play a bit of rugby. It's why we do the jobs we do. Really, it's a profession. So it'd be great to get out there and get a game under our belt.
Absolutely, and it's a tough test, but you'll hope to keep getting wins to keep that consistency.
Well, hopefully, yeah, definitely that's the aim. Montpellier, it's going to be a tough battle. They're currently fourth in the top 14. They got a really strong group of players, so it's going to be a big challenge. Obviously they played the other week against Biarritz. They missed out on the weekend as well, so. No, big challenge, but one we're looking forward to.
And you've a really strong squad. I'm sure it's tough for a lot of the lads trying to break in and get places. How do you deal with all of that side of things?
It is tough. I mean, we named the team on several occasions. Someone like Dan Levy, if I can he was him as an example. He was in a team to start. I think week after week, and then unfortunately he's picked up an injury now that's going to rule him out for 8 weeks. It's just the rub of the green, unfortunately. It's just the way it's gone, but we prepared professionally for each of those games as well as we could. We've had numerous to and fro in between the games with boys with the COVID, but we've had to adapt, so I mean, our numbers this week are great. I had 24 forwards today, so 3 packs to work with. So, the nature of that competitiveness, I've already mentioned it before, that's hopefully going to put us in a good place ahead of the weekend.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Robin. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Just at the start, I think you said everyone's in the same boat, but really everyone is not in the same boat. Leinster are about to go 5 weeks without a match. What are you doing in camp to try and get them as prepared as they can be for a big European match? There's disruption, everyone's disrupted, but nobody has been disrupted as much as Leinster.
No, but I mean, when does that disruption sort of level itself out? If you miss 3 or 4 weeks, well, how much difference does it make missing a little bit more? I don't know. Anyway, we've all got to deal with these different challenges. So, just focusing on making sure that the level of training doesn't drop off. So, you had players and staff for that matter having periods of time away from here. But we just focused on getting the consistency in our training so that the training's never dropped off. So everybody who's come back in after missing a couple of days, they've had to really get up on the information, and that's as much as we can do, really, and try and keep everybody energised, try and still keep them looking forward to coming to train. So the nature of our training has changed a little bit. When you've got as much time in your hands, you can afford to sort of mess around or tinker with 1 or 2 things, have a play around with certain things. So, definitely trying to keep them fresh. But also, it's not sort of wasted time either. So, you haven't gone too far away from the plan, really.
What happened to Dan Levy?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. He just landed awkward on his hand. It's just a freak thing, really. So unfortunately for him, he's going to be out for 8 weeks. So it's poor luck for him.
Before the first round, Johnny was hoping to be back for the second match, which obviously didn't go ahead. Johnny Sexton, is he in the running now? Is he back at training and everything?
Yeah, everybody's got a fit bit of health. I think there's 2 boys, unfortunately, because of COVID again, that aren't able to train with us. But other than that, everybody's got a clean bill of health. So, yeah, as I said, the numbers this week are brilliant.
Maybe can I just get your perception as a Welsh person about how you feel that the French view the European Cup? I know there's been periods with Toulon and Toulouse and Racing go for it after a while, but is there any perception there that the be-all and end-all for them is the top 14, and they don't benchmark themselves off Europe as much as, say, the Irish provinces do. What's your perception on how they feel about the European Cup?
I think it changes depending on what club you're in. I think certain clubs do, certain clubs don't. I think certain clubs, maybe if they're having a tough time in the top 14, they may focus a little bit more on survival mode in that league as opposed to trying to make anything in Europe. But I think the best teams take it seriously. Yeah, Montpellier will take it seriously. I've got no doubt about that at all. They've got too many quality players. So, they're riding high. And I think if you're in a competition and you've still got a chance to win, then, you're going to sell yourself to it a lot more. Yeah. I think everybody's different depending on where they sit and where they lie in the leagues, but it's going to be a massive challenge for us.
Thanks, Robin. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Don Swift, you came onto the call late there. If you want to have a question or two to Robin before we finish up this section, please.
Thanks very much, Marcus. Robin, in relation to training, is it very different insofar as that you need, different combinations to cover all possible eventualities?
Yeah, that's one thing that we've had to work with. It's good in one way because, you can prepare for a yellow card or what have you, worst case scenario. So, we're well used to sort of training in those, with those restrictions. But it's definitely been a different way of looking at things. You just take every challenge and you look at it as an opportunity to grow somebody else in different roles. Like at the end of training today, we had Josh van der Vlier thrown into a line-out, for instance. He didn't have to. It was just one of those things. About the open sides feeding into the scrum. Hopefully if a yellow card comes, we're going to be well prepared for it anyway.
Okay. There's also recently been, a lot of, back clapping when forwards score all the tries in a game as against the backs. How do you assess that, or do you care who scores the tries?
No, I don't really mind who scores the tries, really. We had a good run before this break. But when you get into the opposition 22, you get within 10 metres of their try line, you've got to be clinical, and I just think it's a reflection of how clinical we've been in those areas. So, I'm sure it'll balance itself out over the season. I'm sure a few backs will put their hands up to get involved in some mauls to get their head stuck in there. But no, I don't mind. Listen, it's just being clinical when we get in those areas. I don't think it matters who scores the try.